Alright, so we're back with Goji Center with a video that I can only assume is going to be amazing. Drex versus the whole franchise, which I'm hoping is going to include literally the entire Jurassic World, or Jurassic franchise, not Jurassic World, what am I saying? So Jurassic Park 1, 2, 3, all the Jurassic Worlds, potentially even some of the animate, like Camp Cretaceous and that with the Scorpio Rex and whatnot. Obviously, we've seen the Spino here, but this looks like the Spino from the most recent movie. But I'm excited to see how this D-Rex holds its ground against other predators and other dinos from throughout the franchise's many evolutionary stages of what they're offered. So let's just get straight to it.
Drex, a malformed monstrosity unlike anything the franchise has ever seen before on screen. This summer showed us one of the most dangerous entities to ever exist in the world, dreamt by Michael Crichton. But how would the franchise's past contend with this newest nightmare? On this episode of Goji Center, we look at all 6 previous installments of the Jurassic franchise to see which might be able to stop an invasion by this doomsday mutant, to see if something might survive and which might go extinct. Drex versus the Jurassic Saga. Now, we may see some more action out of the Distorted King in future outings of the franchise. After all, it has joined the rare club of Jurassic antagonists like the JP3 Spino to survive its introduction film.
Jurassic Park 3 Spino, in my opinion, most likely has the highest chance.
Waiting Evolution 3. For now, though, we can still use our prior analysis as well as what is on screen to try and judge if the D-Rex is a warrior or a wimp. Watch the prior videos for more context, but to give you the short rundown, the D-Rex seems to be a heavily altered Tyrannosaurus with errors in the Hox gene and/or other additives, making it reach the size and shape it is. And size is definitely its best asset. At over 8 meters or 26 feet tall, it towers over every other on-screen carnivore in the franchise. The runner-up, the Biosyn Giganotosaurus, and the Spino by the time of Camp Cretaceous can only approach that high when rearing up as tall as they can in an awkward stance. Its jaws are still mostly intact from the suspected Tyrannosaurus base, and even if there might be some deformities involved weakening them, sheer size would help make up for any loss in force, with crunching power potentially between 50 to 80% stronger than an average Tyrannosaurus. As a hexapod, 50 to size would help make up for any loss in force, with crunching power potentially between 50 to 80% stronger than an average Tyrannosaurus. As a hexapod...
No, but I would think with its way its jaw is, I would literally think it would have a lower bite force. No? Because it's a little deformed and its teeth is not as well... I don't actually know, but I don't know the scientificness behind it, if that's even a word. I honestly do think it has a worse bite force, but having a 50 to, what did he say, 80% better? That is stupid. That is too OP, because it really has crazy upper body strength. They can just go full Kong on them and just bash them and...
A creature with 6 limbs, the D-Rex probably can't get much out of using its smaller T-Rex-like arms,
is likely just going to be agility and stamina.
Its bigger set of limbs, though, which seem to combine features of Tyrannosaurus arms and legs, could, however, make for dangerous tools.
It's so big.
It may not be the most capable big-armed combatant, lacking the mobility and dexterity of an ape, but it can still clutch and grab enough to pull something close for a bite or slam them into the ground. With each arm weighing several tons, just the bludgeoning force alone might be plenty lethal.
Like that.
Weight-wise, the Jurassic franchise again has a time-honored tradition of... Weight-wise, the Jurassic franchise...
Oh, bro, that looks insane. Imagine that was his color palette. Damn. I didn't know that zebra in it.
Franchise again has a time-honored tradition of not making the most sense. Some listings give the D-Rex a fairly plausible mass north of 17 to 22 tons, which is light, but makes some sense for something that big. It even matches up to some of our pre-release estimates. It also loosely matches remarks about it being twice the size of a typical T-Rex. Others, however, confusingly only put it at about 10 to 11 tons. Still bigger than most theropods in the franchise, and not as egregious as something else in the movie, but extremely low for its size.
Wait. Titanosaurus, 30 tons. Well, 29 tons, but 21 meters long, 50 meters tall. 50 meters tall. I would have thought it was much more. That is insane. Bro, it's a heavy Tall bitch.
He just says something else in the movie, but
is that not
extremely low for its size. The D-Rex probably isn't the most agile creature, relying mostly on stealth and force rather than nimble
how are you gonna be
footwork and
stealthy
speed.
with this?
But if it can get within range and
big.
grab or bite, that might be a deadly combination for
Every
almost
step it
any
takes
other
is too
land
basic.
animals
It's
in
not
the
gonna be able to
franchise.
be stealthy.
The Distortus was, after all, remarked as being among the most dangerous creatures on the abandoned island.
Yes.
It truly may be among the most dangerous animals in the franchise, especially on its home island. But
I think
what about
the
all
Mutadons
the
will
other
probably
islands
count
of
as
death
because how
seen in
quick
the
and
other
agile they
movies?
are, with
Time
a
to
decent
drop
bite
this
force as
upcoming
well.
terror into the past during the events of
His
each
teeth are so
prior film
messed up.
and
They've got two
assess
little
what
back
might be
teeth in
able to
front.
stand their
So
ground
goofy.
against this mutation. Number 1, Jurassic Park. Strange as it is to
Everything
say,
that started
Isla
this
Nublar was
amazing franchise.
probably at the safest it had ever potentially been in the franchise back in 1993. The island had only recently
Also,
been populated
the
by
most
dinosaurs
less
hatched on
physics-based
Isla Sorna,
ever,
and
but
Hammond's
yes.
Park held significantly fewer creatures than Masrani's would decades later. Rexy was young and quick at the time, having just recently reached her adult size. While she definitely would have been much more nimble and agile than her mutated adversary, she was also at her smallest we had seen her on screen. At about 37 feet long and 6 to 7 tons, Nublar's queen would have been dwarfed by her own future self and looked positively tiny fighting on her own against this menace. She'd likely be able to get some hits in
her
and
head's gonna be
easily
bit off
outrun
one
the
time.
mutant if
Like,
she
what is
needed to
this?
get some space between them, but a
What's the
prolonged
size
battle in
comparison?
a
Show us how you
one-on-one
remember the fully grown
confrontation could
state.
spell doom. An unlikely team-up with the debatably canon Alpha Triceratops from the Telltale game, Lady Margaret, might help even the odds some. Rexy had later shown she could exploit a chance assist from a cantankerous herbivore attacking the same target. But if either queen or matriarch took a critical hit, it would be curtains. It should be noted that if the D-Rex is given the lighter weight estimates of about 10 to 11 tons, the mass and strength difference closes by a lot. A lighter D-Rex would be a lot easier to topple, and once floored by a charging Margaret, Rexy has a much better chance to do some damage. With only 3 adult raptors on the island and them not exactly being team players, just about the only thing left that might be able to do something would be any one of the island
A nice little fact, by the way.
Here's just about the only thing.
If you didn't know, in this scene, well, in this scenario, when Rexy is taking one of the raptors in her mouth and like shaking it about, there's this like a frame or two where the raptor is invisible. It's funny. If you guys didn't know that, now you do.
Left that might be able to
just for that fact alone, subscribe.
Do something would be
just enjoy the video. I'm gonna check out Goji Center's video, obviously.
Between 50 to 70 tons, realistically, one of these things might be capable of
comment down below what your favorite Jurassic movie was
during a battle of titans. Unfortunately, a lot of the sauropods in this franchise tend to not have the best combative ability. In the end, it might just be best for anything on 90s Nublar to treat the D-Rex like how the people treated them. Run away. Number 2,
Run
The
away.
Lost World. Traveling forward and outward to Isla Sorna, and the D-Rex comes up against a greater challenge.
In the second
movie,
movie,
was positively brimming with dinosaurs at the time, with
I can't remember the
substantially
second
more
movie.
individuals from every species seen on Nublar. The striped raptor pack seen in the tall grass and worker village might actually be able to pose a threat to the Goliath
the second movie.
thanks to sheer numbers. And considering the huge skeletons seen near the village, they may not be unaccustomed to climbing up and cutting big beasts down to their level. One major problem, though, with this pack is its own chaos. Highly aggressive towards even their own kind if their fellow raptors get in their way, this pack sometimes attacks with less coordinated social
if someone
hunting
stops me from eating my pancakes, I'm gonna be pissed too, let me just say.
And with the D-Rex having numerous weapons and sheer size to fight back with, casualties might start mounting quickly. Plucking off raptors with its 4 arms, biting them to crush them instantly, or swatting them with sweeping blows of its big arms. An attempted pack attack might go south quickly, and the raptors might run away to come back and make a meal of their dead kin instead of pick a fight with the mutant again.
That's
the
like
T-Rex
every game.
couple, ironically enough, show substantially better pack coordination than the raptors. Roughly the same size as Rexy was, they still don't have the sheer mass to bring the mutant down
what are they called
easily.
again?
That said, though, numbers and agility might help them in a confrontation. If they can avoid getting grabbed, the doe can distract the mutant as the buck circles around and goes for the legs and tail. And don't hurt the mutant again. Away. The T-Rex couple, ironically enough, show substantially better pack coordination than the Raptors.
You said couple, you didn't
Roughly
say
the same size as Rexy was, they still don't have the sheer
Buck
mass
and
to
Doe?
bring the mutant down easily. That
I
said,
thought they were
though,
mother and
numbers
daughter.
and agility might help them in a confrontation. If they can avoid getting grabbed, the Doe could distract the mutant as the Buck circles around
Buck and Doe,
goes
okay.
for the legs and tail.
I don't know,
then
what is
switching
green?
back and
That's
forth
cool.
depending on which one the cumbersome
I thought it was a
Doomsday
mother and
Bringer
daughter.
targets. It would be
Am I dumb?
death by 1,000
Don't answer
bites,
that.
and one slip-up could spell disaster. Given how social the Tyrannosaur species is, and that there are at least a few others on the island, encountering this mutant might spur them to stick together for safety.
That would
and
be
increase
enough
their own
T-Rex will
chances
definitely
in a
take it out.
fight.
But I will
One
definitely take out
tyrant
one or
lizard
two at
king
least.
might not triumph, but a kingdom might. Given these circumstances, this might be one of those cases where they might just stay out of
avoid
each
each
other's
other.
way. Jurassic Park
Jurassic Park
3.
with that
Flashing
Spino is
forward a few years to the
crazy.
same island, and the D-Rex could wind up confronted against the biggest carnivore in the franchise up to that point. Sorna's Spinosaurus was a formidable opponent, and might just be aggressive enough to take
This
this
is
intruding
definitely
newcomer
a
as a
monster.
challenge.
That is
After all, it was
a
already
monster
set
in
off
its own.
and
One
specifically
tapping a
went
T-Rex
looking
is
for
stupid.
fights at the smell of Tyrannosaur
Oh, not
scent.
really one
So,
tap,
with
but you
the
know what I
D-Rex
mean.
probably being mostly Tyrannosaur itself, a clash between the two
your tail
could be
looks like a slug.
inevitable. But this is where the sailback's luck runs out. In its fight against the bull Tyrannosaur, the Spino leveraged its size and reach to its best advantage, shrugging off hits from the smaller predator to grapple its head and neck. From there, it was mostly making use of its own brute strength, height,
that pissed
and
off a lot of
weight
people. I
advantage
know
to
that for
snap the
sure.
neck. Three things the Spino is not going to have fighting an opponent much heavier.
Bro, look at that. This guy's mouth is only gonna go around this much. He ain't reaching there. Your length game is off, brother.
And taller than it is. Trying to target the head with a neck snap could still work, and a fight in the water might help swing the odds. But reaching there without getting grappled or crushed would be a Herculean close to impossible task. There is, however, another predator from the third movie that might stand a chance. One who, in an earlier script of the third movie, was going to bring about the end for the Spinosaurus with brains over brawn. The raptor pack in Jurassic Park 3 that made their nest near the embryonic compound were distinctly different from every other raptor in the franchise. Led by their matriarch, this pack showed far better coordination and communication than just about every other pack in the franchise. And with intelligence rivaled by few, like the Atrociraptors in Chaos Theory. Just 4 or 5 raptors wouldn't be nearly enough to bring down the rampaging mutation.
10, 20,
but given the
maybe
number
50.
of nests we saw, the true size of this pack might be measured in the dozens. And if all of them attacked in careful maneuvers, that might be enough for numbers to overcome even the D-Rex's size. Being more than smart enough to jump on the back where the mutant wouldn't be able to easily reach or go for the flanks and tail outside of grabbing or biting range.
You guys a month.
This pack might be able to pull it off over a very long time, making this creature succumb to blood loss. That's if the raptors are down with downing their own population and taking this T-Rex out. Number 4, Jurassic World.
Jurassic World. So there we have
hybrid versus mutant.
Okay, so there we have the Indom and we have the Mosasaur. Is there anything else? The Mosasaur has definitely got size compared to the Indom. So against the D-Rex, the Mosasaur stands a pretty good chance, but it being literally non-removable compared to the D-Rex on land is gonna be oof.
If the D-Rex found itself on Isla Nublar in the 2010s, it might well wind up crossing paths with the Indominus Rex amidst its rampage. And in a clash between one of the first creatures in the series to be called a monster and the latest to bear that title, only one monster could remain standing in the end if the encounter came to blows.
Smarter.
This would be a battle of raw force versus raw abilities. The Indominus has managed to cut down larger opponents before, but now she is up against one far more well-armed than any of the other gentle giants on the island.
Ones were not
in the battle
carnivores.
against Rexy, despite having a height and weight advantage, it took the Indominus a while to get control of the fight. Despite having a height and weight advantage, gentle giants on the island. In the battle against Rexy, despite having a height and weight advantage, it took the Indominus
I tuned back a bit because I thought he was talking about Rexy having the height advantage, but I think he meant
a while to get control of the fight, and some timely distraction by Blue left her getting ragdolled by the irate Tyrannosaurus. She absolutely was stronger than the older Rexy at the time, but inexperience might be something of a handicap. In a one-on-one confrontation, the Indominus would have her best chance using her camouflage to get a first strike, trying to circle around and go for the legs to cut the towering Colossus's foundations out from under it by damaging the tendons and muscle.
But
with the T-Rex having 4 limbs to act as a foundation, this wouldn't be as easy as if she was fighting a biped. It's also notable that her camouflage ability would be largely limited to this initial ambush. Camouflaging animals like the cuttlefish she got the genes from can't instantly change on the fly when moving. This isn't the active camo from the Predator we're talking about. It takes a moment for the skin to adjust. And in the midst of a fight that she can't afford to get grabbed on, the Indominus would have a very hard time getting that moment after the first strike. If she kept committing to the battle, it's probable that the mutant could get a hold of and crush the life out of the hybrid.
Neck, it can just crush it,
break it, help the Indominus more than brawn. If she played her cards right and got every theropod she might have tried to communicate with, like the Raptor Squad, Toro, and Rexy, to join forces.
When did she talk to a Carnotaurus? I remember seeing it once, but I don't remember them communicating. I need to go watch Jurassic World again. Shit.
A coalition of predators might be able to hold their own against the rampaging mutant.
I love Blue.
Alternatively,
So cool.
the Distortus, being ever curious and not the most overly aggressive creature, might open up an avenue for the Indominus to win by not fighting. If those two started communicating and the Distorted King was actually curious enough to listen, everyone on the island would have a substantially worse outcome if those two teamed up. If there was anything we learned in the movie and in the tie-in series Camp Cretaceous, it's that this Indom can be diplomatic at times. Had it not been for Rexy attacking first, the Indom would have probably taken the opportunity to make Rexy her next valuable ally. Number 5, Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom.
Dropping this monstrous mutation right outside the Lockwood Manor after the initial breakout would prove disaster for anyone and anything involved. With the dinosaurs on Isla Sorna forgotten
just the
by the
Indoraptor,
scriptwriters to be MIA,
a few
the
other
only
raptors.
creatures are those
It's a
from
big
Nublar,
owl for
all
them.
caged, sickly, and emaciated, with the only released animals being a
Stegosaurus.
Stygimoloch that's going to have the common sense to book it out of there,
What are they?
and Blue,
Stiggy.
who
What are they
probably
called
doesn't
again?
want anything to do with
Bonehead.
this fight. That just leaves him. The Indoraptor
this one
does
definitely
have
smart,
impressive
though.
durability,
I
but
believe.
stopping about 1,000 foot-pounds behind a rifle bullet is one thing. Stopping the crunching force of a supersized mutant Rex
It grabbing the helicopter made no sense. This scene makes no sense to me.
Matter. The Indoraptor might just be crazed enough to engage the D-Rex, jumping onto its back from the rooftops like something out of Attack on Titan to claw and bite anything it can reach. But staying on something thrashing around like that with no help would be an impossible feat. It
They could
would
just jump on its
inevitably
back
get
and
grabbed
crush
or
it.
shaken off, and its armored skin
Roll
is
like a
not
pig.
going to stop it from just getting crushed
Punctured,
right
yeah.
through it. The best shot the heroes might have is for Maisie to open up that gate at just the right time and hopefully see how well the mutant stands up to a full stampede crashing into it.
Ow.
Dominion.
Dominion.
If there was anything that might derail the fated clash of
Ooh, Dominion. That's the Giga. Giga really didn't see much of it. It ate a dead bug, and then it got tag teamed by the T-Rex and the Therizinosaurus. The Thero is cool. It's very cool. It's blinded in one eye, but it's got some big, freaking long and sharp ass nails. Like, damn. So it can freaking poke. Bye bye eyes. Ching, ching, ching. You know? Rex. Is that even Rexy? I don't know. I think those are the only predators in this. I mean, there was the Pyrorex. Pyrorex? No, not the Pyrorex. What are they called again? There's little Pyrorexes in this no area. They get fly. I don't know.
Titans matchup between Rexy and Biosyn's Giga. It's this,
Giga.
the Tower of Power showing up. As one of the most powerful theropods in the franchise up to that point, the Giganotosaurus is probably one of the best to potentially take on the mutation. Young, in good health, and the heavily serrated teeth of this gigantic carnosaur would probably be the best weapons to try and cut down the Colossus. After all,
it's saying all of that, but it doesn't change the fact that the way they wrote it and did it in the movie, it got absolutely destroyed. Like, it didn't do anything. Even though it would be able to have. But we can't really go off of what they did in the movie, because that is just not accurate. Oh well. Whatever.
Its genetic forebearers used more or less similar teeth to whittle away at animals a lot bigger than the D-Rex.
Oh,
but this is still a fight against
Isn't that
an
like
opponent
sharks?
the Giga would have no context for.
I don't know.
And even with how large Biosin's scarred champion is, it now finds itself against an opponent it can't easily outmuscle. One-on-one, it would be a bloody affair, but the mutation might have enough raw force to overpower and crush.
What's the Therizinosaurus doing at the back here? What's this dumbass doing here? Are they gonna tag team down him? You can put your fingers through this guy's brain over here. It's got enough brain for you to put all your fingers in.
Ironically enough, the Carnosaur's best chance relies on
Rex at the back
foe.
as well.
As the old saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And if Rexy's near legendary aggression kicks in and she joins in on the attack, less to help the Giga and more just to attack
that would be
that might help tilt.
Okay. If anyone that uploads animated film, like Jurassic films or anything, is watching this video right now, this is a very good idea. The tag team, well, not tag team, a 3v1, D-Rex versus the T-Rex, Therizinosaurus, and the Giga. That would be a crazy fight, bro. Please, that would be so dope. Let me know.
The odds,
anyways,
especially if a certain cantankerous Longclaw also joins in. Should the
bro, those little
especially if a certain
these little things would just grab this guy's head.
Cantankerous Longclaw
so
also
funny,
joins
bro.
In,
I want to see that animated so badly. That poor Therizinosaurus, bro. What did he do?
Survive the previous outings?
Yes.
The answer is highly dependent on how this animal behaves. All the creatures that we have previously mentioned that could spell doom for the Distortus have a potentially equal or more dangerous counterpart in St. Hubert. The JP3 raptors that could bring down the D-Rex in sheer numbers had their Hubert cousins dominated in Rebirth by a single Mutadon. The new T-Rex is implied to be more dangerous than any other T-Rex we've seen previously.
Yeah, that new T-Rex, I do want to see its size, like against Rexy for size comparison, see how its size looks. Because no, Rexy is most likely the biggest we've actually seen on screen. Well, don't take this to it. That's what I'm just assuming. So I just want to see like the size comparison to see how much bigger that one that we've seen in Rebirth actually is, because it looks so massive. But we didn't see a lot of it, and it pisses me off.
The fact that 5 Spinosaurus and their big buddy Mosa still haven't crossed paths with the D-Rex lays bare the fact that this guy can behave and stay out of unnecessary trouble.
Bro, the waters around there is deep as shit. Like, this guy can't swim. He's too heavy. You'll sink.
The final verdict is that D-Rex could survive the previous outings, but time will tell if the Distorted King will run out of luck in the future.
Yes. Yes, I do think it has a very good chance. Most of it. There is a few. I mean, obviously the Raptor ganging up on him. That's a good one. Rex's, if Buck though and Rexy team up, then it's very possible. I can't really think now. I mean, also obviously was it Fallen Kingdom? I can't remember what it was called now. The Therizinosaurus, Giga and Rexy, or even if that is Rexy, that tag team will, I think, stand a good chance as well. So this guy has a lot going for him. No, okay, I was gonna say this guy on Skull Island, but that is just stupid. Never mind. He's not big enough. He's not the Giga from Ark. Okay, whatever. Anyways, please do make sure to go check out Goji Center and just support and give a like and subscribe, and subscribe here by me if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.